Far beyond the edges of known space, where stars twinkled faintly and silence stretched deep, a small human ship floated alone. It was an old ship, battered and worn, with scratches and dents telling stories of long travels and hard battles. Inside, Captain Sarah Langley moved carefully, checking the ship's damaged systems. The engines were weak, the power flickering, but the humans were not ready to give up. Outside, a sudden flash of light blinked. A large alien ship appeared, moving slowly toward the human ship. The alien vessel was huge, sleek and glowing faintly with blue lights. The aliens inside watched the lone human ship with sharp eyes. They were the Vrixil, a proud and powerful species. The Vrixil believed they controlled this part of space, and a small broken human ship was an easy prize. The Vrixil captain, a tall being with gray skin and bright green eyes, ordered his crew to prepare for boarding. "Bring them aboard," he said with a voice cold and clear. "Let's see what this weak species is hiding." The human crew was small, just Captain Sarah, a mechanic named Jace, and a navigator called Mia. They knew their ship was no match for the Vrixil, but humans were never ones to give up without a fight. They prepared their ship for boarding but hoped the aliens might be interested in talking first. The Vrixil boarded quickly, stepping into the cramped human ship. They looked around, expecting to find terrified, weak creatures. Instead, they found humans working quietly but confidently. Jace was fixing a broken power line, his hands steady and skilled. Mia was checking maps and calculating routes. The Vrixil were surprised. Humans looked strong in their own way. They did not panic or beg. They looked ready to face whatever came next. Captain Sarah stepped forward. "We are damaged but not defeated," she said calmly. "If you want, we can talk. We come with no harm." The Vrixil captain raised an eyebrow. "You expect us to believe that? You are alone, broken. Why should we listen?" Sarah smiled a little. "Because we survive. We always do." The Vrixil captain studied her face. There was something in her eyes, a quiet fire that was hard to ignore. Still, he was the leader of a powerful empire. He would not show weakness. "Very well," he said. "We will tow your ship to our world. There you can be studied. Maybe you have something useful." Sarah nodded. "Thank you." The humans were taken to the Vrixil homeworld, a place of tall cities and bright lights. The Vrixil kept a close watch on the humans, but they allowed them to move within certain areas. Sarah and her crew used this time to repair their ship slowly. They also watched the aliens, learning their customs and technology. The Vrixil believed humans were simple. They did not see the strength hidden in patience and cleverness. One evening, as Sarah looked out at the stars from a high window, she spoke softly to her crew. "We owe them a favor now," she said. "We said we would return one." Jace laughed. "Return? A favor? They took us prisoner." Sarah shook her head. "Sometimes favors are more than kindness, sometimes they are chances. We will use this chance." Mia looked curious. "How?" Sarah smiled. "We wait. We learn. Then, when the time is right, we return." The Vrixil continued their studies, confident in their power, but the humans quietly grew stronger in their minds and hearts. They were not just survivors, they were warriors of will, and far away in the silence of space, the story of humans and Vrixil was only just beginning. The Vrixil homeworld was a place full of wonders and power. Tall towers reached into the sky, shining under twin suns. Streets buzzed with strange vehicles, and the air was filled with the hum of machines. The Vrixil themselves moved with grace and pride. They believed they were the strongest species in the galaxy, and they treated the humans as nothing more than curiosities, weak, strange, and easy to control. Captain Sarah Langley and her crew, Jace, and Mia, were given a small area inside a tall building. It was clean but cramped, with just enough room to move. The Vrixil guards watched them closely, never far away. The humans were not free, but they were not prisoners in cells either. The Vrixil allowed the humans to eat their food, rest, and work on repairing their ship. They even gave them some old technology, thinking it would keep the humans busy and useless. Sarah looked around the room one evening and said quietly to Jace and Mia, "They think they have us where they want. But we have time." Jace wiped grease from his hands and smiled. "I've found some parts here and there. Nothing fancy, but enough to fix the engines if we're patient." Mia was studying Vrixel communication devices, listening carefully. They talk like they're gods, but even gods have secrets. Sarah nodded. "That's what we need. Secrets." Days passed slowly, but the humans never gave up. They asked questions, watched, listened, and learned. They noticed how the Vrixil worked their machines, how their energy flowed through the city, and how the people acted when the guards were not watching. One afternoon, a Vrixil scientist named Tarek came to visit. He was tall and serious, with eyes that studied everything closely. "You humans are strange," he said. "You do not seem afraid. You fix things with little tools and no great machines." Sarah smiled politely. "We are used to fixing things with what we have. Sometimes that is the best way." Tarek shook his head but seemed interested. "I will tell my leaders. Maybe you are not as weak as we thought." After he left, Jace leaned toward Sarah and whispered, "I don't trust him. Vrixil don't give compliments without reason." Sarah agreed. "We watch him, we learn more." That night, the humans gathered in their small space to talk. "We owe them a favor," Sarah reminded them. "But what kind of favor?" Mia thought, for a moment. "Maybe they need something we have. Maybe they will need help someday." Jace nodded. "Or maybe the favor is just the chance to survive, to live. We pay it back by being ready." Sarah looked at the stars outside the window. "Then we prepare." Weeks turned into months. The humans fixed their ship slowly. They also learned more about the Vrixil world. They discovered the Vrixil's energy system was powerful but complicated. It depended on a network of hidden stations across the planet. Sarah made a plan. If we can control their energy, we can help them, or stop them. One day, a young Vrixil civilian named Lyra came by their room. She was curious and kind, different from the proud soldiers. She watched the humans with interest. "Why do you stay so calm?" she asked Sarah one afternoon. Sarah smiled. "Because we have hope. Hope helps us survive." Lyra looked surprised. "We have power, but we do not always have hope." "Hope is a gift," Sarah said softly. "It makes even the hardest times easier." Lyra began visiting often, bringing small gifts and stories. She told the humans about Vrixil life, its rules, its fears, and its dreams. In return, the humans shared their own stories, of Earth and the stars, of courage and survival. A small friendship grew between Lyra and the humans. It was a quiet light in the dark world of control. One evening, the Vrixil captain came to visit again. He looked at the humans with new eyes. "You speak of favors and hope," he said. "But what do you want from us?" Sarah met his gaze steadily. "We want a chance to live and to help when the time comes." The captain frowned. "You are far from home, weak and damaged. What could you do for us?" Sarah's voice was calm but strong. "Sometimes the smallest help can change everything. When the time comes, we will repay the favor. You will see." The Vrixil captain did not answer. He left the room, but his mind was busy. That night the humans talked again. "We wait," Sarah said. "We watch, and when the time is right, we act." Jace smiled. Humans always return a favor. They learned that a long time ago. Mia looked out the window at the distant stars. We may be far from Earth, but Earth is always with us, in our hearts and our spirit. As the days passed, the humans grew stronger in knowledge and spirit. The Vrixil might control their bodies, but the humans kept their minds free. They knew that survival was not just about power, but about hope, patience, and the quiet strength to keep going. And, somewhere deep in the shadows of the Vrixil world, a small spark began to glow, a spark of change that no one could yet see. The days on the Vrixel homeworld grew longer, and the humans slowly adjusted to their new lives. Though still watched carefully by the Vrixel guards, Captain Sarah, Jace, and Mia moved with quiet confidence. The humans worked on their ship when they could, but more importantly, they kept learning about the Vrixel, about their technology, their society, and their weaknesses. Sarah believed knowledge was the best weapon. "If we understand them, we can survive," she told her crew. One afternoon, while repairing a broken panel on their ship, Jace noticed something unusual in the Vrixel's power grid. The energy flow had a pattern that seemed odd, like a heartbeat. "This system is strange," he said. "It's strong, but it depends on some key stations. If those stations go down, the whole grid could fail." Mia was curious. "Can we reach those stations from here?" Jace nodded slowly. "Maybe. I'll try to find out." That night, the humans gathered to share what they had learned. Sarah looked thoughtful. "This could be our hidden advantage. If we can control the energy grid, we might be able to help, or defend ourselves." Mia smiled. "Or maybe even surprise them." The humans began working quietly, studying the Vrixel, technology in secret. They used small tools, pieces from their ship, and clever tricks to build devices that could connect to the Vrixel energy network. It was slow work, but they were patient. Humans were good at waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, the relationship between the humans and some Vrixel civilians like Lyra grew stronger. Lyra was a young technician who secretly admired the humans' courage and cleverness. She often came to visit, bringing small gifts or stories from the city. "Why do you help us?" Sarah asked her one day. Lyra looked down, shy. "Because you are different. You do not see us as enemies. You show kindness even when you have little. It makes me want to be better." Sarah smiled. "Kindness is a choice, even in hard times." Lyra nodded. "Maybe one day we can be friends." Sarah hoped so. The friendship was a small light in a dark place. But not all Vrixel were kind. The guards remained watchful, and the scientists often questioned the humans sharply. One day, the Vrixel scientist Tarek returned, his eyes sharp and suspicious. "You humans work too fast," he said. "What are you hiding?" Sarah answered calmly. "We only want to survive and go home." Tarek did not believe her. "We will watch you closely." Despite the suspicion, the humans kept working quietly. Jace discovered that some energy stations were hidden in places the Vrixel rarely visited. They planned to send small signals through the network, testing how much control they could gain without being noticed. One evening, while working late, Mia detected something strange on the network. "There's a weak signal coming from the main energy hub," she said. "It's unprotected." Jace's eyes lit up. "If we can access that, we could control the entire grid." Sarah looked serious. "We must be careful. One wrong move and they will catch us." The humans planned carefully. They created a small device to connect to the main hub without alerting the Vrixel. It was a risky mission, but they were ready. Before they acted, Lyra came with urgent news. "There is talk of a rival group attacking the city soon. They want to take the Vrixel power for themselves." Sarah's heart quickened. This is the moment. The humans understood that the rival group's attack could bring chaos. If the Vrixel lost control of their energy, the city could fall into darkness and danger. "We can help," Sarah said. "But only if the Vrixel accept it." The Vrixel captain was skeptical when Sarah offered help. "Why should I trust you?" "Because we owe you a favor," Sarah said simply. "And because we want to live." The captain considered her words. "Very well. But if you betray us, the punishment will be severe." The humans moved quickly. Using their secret devices, they sent signals into the energy network. They turned off weapons aimed at the city and disabled traps set by the rival group. The energy stations responded perfectly to the humans' commands. The rival group arrived expecting easy victory, but found themselves powerless. Without their weapons, they were quickly pushed back by Vrixel soldiers. The city was saved. The Vrixel were stunned. They never expected the humans to understand and control their technology so well. The humans had turned the tide of battle with nothing but cleverness and quiet determination. After the battle, the Vrixel captain approached Sarah. His expression was serious but respectful. "You have saved us. You have repaid your favor." Sarah nodded. "We will always return a favor, that is what humans do." Jace smiled. "And sometimes we pay it back with interest." Mia looked at the city lights shining again. This is only the beginning. The Vrixel learned that humans were not just survivors. They were fighters with hidden strength. The quiet patience and clever mind of humans were weapons no alien could ignore. As the night settled over the city, Sarah and her crew knew their journey was far from over. But now they had the trust of their captors and a new hope. Hope that someday they would return home, stronger than before. And the lesson was clear. Humans always return a favor, and sometimes they return it in ways no one expects. The days after the battle were tense but hopeful. The Vrixel city was alive again, buzzing with renewed energy and cautious optimism. The rival group had been driven away, their plans shattered by the humans' clever actions. The Vrixel people whispered stories of the strange newcomers who had turned the tide. Captain Sarah Langley and her crew moved with more freedom now. The Vrixel captain, once cold and suspicious, had changed. He allowed the humans to work openly, even granting them access to certain parts of the city's technology. It was not full trust, but it was progress. Sarah knew better than to believe the war was over. "The real test is coming," she told Jace and Mia one evening as they gathered around a small table in their room. Jace nodded, cleaning a tool. "The rival group won't give up so easily. They'll come back stronger." Mia looked worried. "And the Vrixel might not be ready." Sarah's eyes were sharp. "That's why we must be ready too. We promised to return the favor. Now is the time." The humans worked quickly with the Vrixel technicians. They helped repair damaged energy stations, improved communication systems, and even taught new ways to defend the city's power grid. Slowly, the humans became more than prisoners. They became partners. One morning, as the twin suns rose over the city, alarms sounded. The rival group was returning with a larger force. This time they came not only by land, but with small fleets, in orbit ready to strike hard. The Vrixel captain gathered his commanders and the humans in the war room. "We face a great threat," he said. "We must use every resource to protect our home." Sarah stepped forward. "We have a plan, but we need to act fast and work together." Jace showed the maps and energy networks they had studied. "If we can control the energy grid, we can disable the enemy's weapons and shields during their attack." Mia added, "We can also create false signals to confuse their ships." The Vrixel commanders exchanged looks, surprised but hopeful. The humans' knowledge was proving valuable beyond what they imagined. The battle began as the rival fleets entered orbit. Ships fired weapons that lit up the sky. The city shook with explosions and energy blasts. The Vrixel soldiers fought bravely, but the enemy was strong and relentless. Deep inside the control center, Sarah and her team worked feverishly. Using their devices, they sent commands into the energy network. Slowly, the rival ships' weapons started to fail. Their shields flickered and dropped. In the chaos, Vrixel ships moved quickly, taking advantage of the weakness. They pushed the enemy back, forcing their retreat. The city was saved again. After the battle, the Vrixel captain approached Sarah once more. His voice was serious but respectful. "You have done more than repay a favor. You have saved our world." Sarah looked at him steadily. "Humans never forget a promise, and when we give our word, we stand by it." Jace grinned. "It's not just about promises. It's about survival and friendship." Mia added softly, "And hope." The Vrixel people began to see the humans in a new light. They were no longer just prisoners or curiosities. They were allies, teachers, and warriors. Lyra, the young Vrixel technician who had become a friend to the humans, smiled as she joined the group. "You showed us something important. Strength comes not only from power but from heart and mind." Sarah nodded. "And from kindness, even when it is hardest." The Vrixel captain turned to his people. "Let this be a new beginning. We will learn from these humans. Together we are stronger. As the twin suns set, casting long shadows over the city, the humans prepared for what lay ahead. They had returned the favor, but their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but they had made allies and friends in the most unexpected places, and the lesson remained clear. Humans always return a favor, and sometimes they return it stronger than anyone expects. The battle left the Vrixel homeworld stronger, but the scars remained. The city was rebuilding, and the people moved with renewed hope. The humans were no longer strangers or prisoners. They were honored guests and trusted allies. The Vrixel had learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes, strength comes from the most unexpected places. Captain Sarah Langley walked through the busy streets with Jace and Mia. The city buzzed with life, tall towers shining under the twin suns, and citizens talking quietly about the recent war and the strange humans who had helped save them. As they walked, a group of Vrixel soldiers approached. Their captain stepped forward, bowing slightly to Sarah. "We owe you much, Captain. You saved our people when we could not. We want to repay the favor properly." Sarah smiled gently. "We do not ask for gifts, just respect and friendship." The Vrixel captain nodded. "Then you shall have it." Later that day, Sarah met with the Vrixel leaders in a grand hall. The atmosphere was serious but hopeful. The Vrixel Council thanked the humans for their bravery and skill. They spoke openly about new alliances and future plans. One elder spoke, "Your courage and wisdom saved us. We see now that humans are not just survivors but protectors. You have earned our respect." Sarah bowed slightly. "We only did what anyone would do for friends." Jace whispered to Mia, "Humans always return a favor. It's in our nature." Mia smiled, "And we pay it back with heart." The days that followed were filled with learning and sharing. The humans taught the Vrixel new ways to protect their cities, to improve their technology, and to think differently about power. But Sarah knew their mission was not yet complete. "We must prepare for what comes next," she told her crew. "This is only one battle in a much larger war." Then, a message came from Earth. It was a signal of hope. Other human ships were coming, searching for survivors and ready to help. The Vrixel leaders welcomed the news. "Your people are brave and resourceful," the captain said. "Together we can face any threat." Sarah looked at the stars and thought about home. "We have returned the favor. Now it is time to return." The humans worked quickly to repair their ship with Vrixel help. The ship was stronger than before, filled with new technology and the spirit of friendship. On the day of departure, the Vrixel gathered to say goodbye. Lyra came forward, her eyes shining with respect and warmth. "You have changed us," she said softly. "Thank you." Sarah smiled, feeling a deep bond with the planet and its people. "Remember, we always return a favor. If you ever need help, call on us." The Vrixel captain stepped forward. "This is not goodbye. It is the beginning of a new alliance." With a final wave, the humans boarded their ship. The engines hummed to life, shining bright under the twin suns. As the ship lifted off, Sarah looked back at the Vrixel homeworld. "We always return a favor," she whispered. "And sometimes we return it stronger than anyone expects." The stars awaited them, full of mystery and challenge. But the humans were ready. For whatever came next, they had the strength of friendship, honor, and the promise to never forget a favor. The human ship rose slowly above the Vrixel homeworld, shining bright against the dark sky. Captain Sarah Langley stood at the window, watching the planet grow smaller beneath them. The twin suns bathed the world in warm light, but her thoughts were far away, thinking of all that had happened and all that was still to come. Behind her, Jace and Mia prepared the ship for the long journey ahead. The ship was no longer the damaged vessel that had drifted into Vrixel space months ago. It was stronger, faster, and filled with new technology shared by their former captors, now allies. Sarah felt a deep pride, but also a quiet sadness. They were leaving a place that had once been a prison, but had become a home. The Vrixel people had changed, and so had the humans. Lyra, the young Vrixel technician who had become a close friend, stood near the hangar. She held a small, carefully wrapped package. When Sarah came down to say goodbye, Lyra stepped forward. "This is for you," Lyra said softly, handing the package to Sarah. Sarah unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a small, carved stone, a symbol of the Vrixel homeworld, but also a symbol of friendship and trust. "We call it the Heart of Vrixel," Lyra explained. "It means respect and promise. We give it to those we trust." Sarah smiled, touched by the gift. "Thank you, Lyra. We will carry it with us always." The Vrixel captain approached as well. His expression was serious but kind. "You have taught us much," he said. "You have shown us the true meaning of strength, not just power but courage, kindness, and loyalty." Sarah nodded. "Humans always return a favor. That is our way." The captain smiled. "Then let this be a new beginning, an alliance between our peoples. Together we will face the challenges of the galaxy." As the ship's engines hummed to life, the crowd of Vrixel citizens and soldiers watched in silence and respect. The humans waved goodbye, their hearts full of hope. Once in space, Sarah gathered her crew. "We've learned a lot here," she said. "Not just about their world, but about ourselves." Jace grinned. "We proved that no matter how small or damaged we are, we never stop fighting." Mia added, "And that friends can be found in the most unlikely places." Sarah looked at the stars ahead. "The galaxy is wide and full of unknowns, but we will face it together, with honor and courage." As the human ship disappeared into the stars, the Vrixel people watched with a new respect for the species they had once thought weak. They understood now that humans were survivors, fighters, and friends. The story of humans and Vrixel was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, tales would spread of the stubborn humans who never forgot a favor and always returned it, no matter the cost. And for Captain Sarah Langley and her crew, their journey was far from over. New adventures awaited, new allies to meet, and new challenges to face. But one thing was certain. Wherever humans went, they carried with them a promise to always stand by those who helped them and to always return a favor.